Hey, it's Jacob, and today we're going to be talking about why you should focus on creating short ads for your Meta ad account because that's what we are seeing work extremely well nowadays. And when we compare it to long ads, which I mean videos over 1 minute long, they are not performing as well. There's a caveat. I know it's a very hot topic, but we are going to discuss this. I'm going to share who it applies to, who it doesn't apply to, and what you should know about this. So let's dive in. Everything that we were going to be discussing comes from our experience of creating tens of thousands of ads for 120 plus brands, primarily DTC brands. We've had a lot of kind of SaaS software and mobile apps clients as well, but it's 95% DTC. And here's a quick disclaimer who this applies to and who it doesn't apply to, what I mentioned with the short videos. And so short videos are considered anything from 15, 30, even 45 seconds, and anything above a minute, so more of like a VSL format, anything above 1 minute, I consider longer videos. And let's discuss why shorter videos is where you should put most of your focus. Who it applies to? So it applies to highly visual products. So for example, fashion is a great example. And products that have something unique that can be easily demonstrated. So some unique tools. Who it doesn't apply to is products that people cannot visually see how the product is different from the others. So for example, health and wellness, supplements. If you have the same supplement, let's just go with the most basic example. If you had like a vitamin C and you can have a bottle, there's nothing unique to the product, or there might be like very small, minor things that are unique about it. It is very hard to distinct that from the competitors, and you might need longer formats rather than just short videos. And also products that require education or complex explanation, like new supplements, something that is new, even a new unique method of doing something that people are aware of. If it is not something that people can easily watch 5 seconds off in the video and understand exactly how it works, then it is probably not going to be best for short videos. Or short videos can perform very well, but it shouldn't be most of your focus. And I wouldn't say short videos are going to perform 10 times better compared to long videos. If your product needs more explanation, if it's more complex, or if it is very similar than your competitors. So let's take a look at why long ads are not working. So for products that are highly visual or can be simply demonstrated, which is who this applies to, complex storytelling can be detrimental because it creates a barrier between your audience, the key information they need to make a decision. People are waiting for you to demonstrate the product, but you keep leading them into problem solution for 15 seconds that they lose patience and just scroll past your ad. So if your product is highly visual and you can just show the product and people immediately understand, like, this is what the product is, this is how it works, like show it in action, like tell me more about the product. But you start with problem solution and you are leading them like this was the problem, and then for 10 15 seconds until you start with the solution, kind of introducing the product. The problem with that is, especially for younger audiences, people are not patient enough to keep watching the problem solution if it's boring and if they already know what the product is and they want to just learn about the product. So if you had a fidget spinner and you started the ad not with the fidget spinner, kind of showing it like, oh, like that's a very unique product, you want to showcase that. But if you started with problem solution that takes 15 seconds to just start with the problem and get until solution. The problem with that is you could go with like, okay, I'm having a hard time focus. I was at work, but I couldn't focus on the work in front of me. Then I introduced the fidget spinner, and that's what the 15-second is. When you kind of showcase the product, when you reveal the product, people are just not going to be able to focus until then. And the shorter videos would be performing better when you just showcase the fidget spinner in the first 3 seconds and just talk about the product. Now, why less storytelling equals better performance in many cases here? We notice that longer ads with long storytelling just tend to overcomplicate the message and lose people who would be ideal customers if they sought the product. Especially for visual products, the audience is more interested in seeing what the product looks like, what it stands for, and how it benefits them, and quickly. So they don't care as much about the problem it kind of solves, and they do care, but you can mention it as a benefit instead of just going with the problem solution framework. In this case, people aren't really looking for a story, they're looking for a solution. And if the product is easy to understand and you can just ramp on the benefits and the features and sell the product that way, it is going to be probably the best. Same with the fashion. You can kind of lead with the story and you can blend in the story, but just going with the problem, it is kind of more difficult. And there's example, True Classic, where they are going with the problem solution and they're showing how the most t-shirts don't fit. And then there's True Classic that fits very well. but they are not doing it for 15 seconds just to get to the solution and just painting the problem for 15 seconds. But they do that in the first 3-5 seconds, immediately plug in the product and talk about the benefits and the features of the product. So that is something I would recommend, especially if you're in fashion or products that are easy to demonstrate and understand. All right, so here's the game plan for you. The first step is to strip away the unnecessary storytelling and just focus on what matters. In this case, the product, its benefits. And then you can have features, social proof, all of those other elements, but primarily the product and the benefits. And you want to keep videos tied no more than 10-15 seconds for getting until you showcase the product and the benefits, right? So some longer videos, they might have 10, 15, 30 seconds of just painting the problem. You want to keep that tied 10, 15 seconds and just cover the product, the benefits, and then you can kind of leave with additional parts. But the product must be visible in the first 10 to 15 seconds. And if there's any unnecessary storytelling that is not key, I would just cut it out from the videos. The second part is deliver the most important information right at the beginning. So if you can grab attention in the first few seconds, a lot of times that is by just showing the product and showing the product in various settings. With also a clear message, you can get just much better chance of driving results. So what we've seen with one of the case studies, Crafted by Numbers, whenever we focus on the product and just showcase a close-up of painting the Paint by Numbers kit, painting the canvas, the videos are just performing much better and the hook rate is higher. The overall performance is just much better, and we don't have to gatekeep the product until the 10 seconds, for example. So starting with the product, implementing that in various settings, trying to grab attention in the first few seconds. Then visually appealing products just speak for themselves. I would use voiceover and captions to reinforce the message without overwhelming the viewer. So you can have the voiceover talking about experience or anything, and then caption something to build on top of hooking people in, right? So captions should be your help to get people to continue watching beyond the first 3 seconds. And make sure that every ad catches attention early and keeps viewers engaged just long enough to push them towards action. Also, the benefit of the short videos is people will watch all of the necessary information and they'll get all the benefits of the product. They'll understand how the product works. You'll kind of showcase them the demonstration, but it is not going to be so long that they are going to be bored and either scroll past or try to get to the landing page in the middle of the video, which happens with 2-3 minute long videos where sometimes people get the key information in the 30th or 60th second and they want to just get on the landing page, which is also good. And that's part of the long ads and why they also perform well, because everyone can get as much content as they want to consume. But there's a risk of being too boring, people not understanding the product and they're just too bored to continue watching. So they'll just scroll past instead of getting to your landing page. That's why I would focus on primarily testing shorter videos if you are in one of the first 2 categories I mentioned at the disclaimer. And why this works is very simple. You remove obstacles between your audience and the message you want them to take away. People want to know what your product is, why it matters, how it benefits them as soon as possible. So they don't want to wait for 60 seconds to even get to the product. It works for older audiences. You can lead with the problem solution if the target audience is 40, 50 plus at least. But for younger audiences, like they want to get what the product is, how it works, how it can help me, and how it benefits me. I want to know that ASAP. And people don't need a long story to be convinced. They just need clarity. They need it fast. So instead of talking in circles about the product, you should just say, this is the product, this is what it does, this is how it's going to help you, just click here to buy. That can work very well. So what you should test today, a couple of things. Take your long form ad creative, trim them down to focus on the core message. So I would show the product clearly within the first 5 to 10 seconds. I would cut out any unnecessary storytelling. And this is not to replace all of your ads. This is another variations to test. I'll get straight to the benefits. So after you showcase the product, get to the benefits and just report back with results in the comments or email me at jacob@10xroas.com. So that's all for this video. Let me know if this was helpful. If you're interested in working with us or getting the first initial creative concepts that we think would perform very well for your brand, just click the link in the description and we can start working together. And if that's not relevant, I'll see you in the next video.